docket's question, what is the downtown? What is going to be up for debate? And I'd certainly be willing to adjust the boundaries when you see this map. But we got to start somewhere. So this is where I start. We have three major areas of downtown. There are three major areas of concern within the downtown area. We've got the traditional downtown, which is the community core use, support, and enhancement. I think that's a pretty fair statement about the downtown. So use, support, and enhancement. The waterfront area, an underutilized area with potential for transformation. And the North Village, potentially important area in need of long-term guidance. The North Village is the main curler property, the biggest open space in the downtown area. So this is my map of downtown. Now this is the apartment. These are the apartments. We certainly could head further, further to the south. We certainly could, go, further in any direction here. But these are the areas I'm talking about in the previous slide. You've got the downtown proper, which is the area with the commercial buildings that you think of when you drive downtown. You've got the waterfront area, which is those areas along the waterfront. And then you've got what we're calling North Village. It's really undetermined what that might be at this point.
Can you, just to kind of share with you, Van Curler does own the properties. See where your stem goes on North Village?
Up there?
Yes. Okay, now Van Curler owns those properties right to your right in the middle there. Not that one, but the next one, they own that one.
Okay.
That one right there. But then they don't own the gas station nor the one south. But it might make sense to include that in the North Village Center as well, because to me all of that development may come in as one, if there is one in the future.
Yeah. What is all this stuff?
Those were boats that were stored back there in the past.
And so on some of the property along Parker Road.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something we talked about in the subcommittee, like in order to make that happen, there's just eventually a place. And we're not talking now, because homes exist in all that area. But I think the first step in that was to zone all of that commercial. Would that be like a first step?
Well, we're going to talk. Let me get this.
Yeah.
That could be a first step. Now, the great thing about form-based code is you're not necessarily just zoning it commercial. There could be incentives to transform it to commercial, while still allowing people to live there as long as they live there. So what are the strategies here? This is the downtowns. This is the green area. Let's talk about that first. Build on what's there. That's the key. That's really the key to form-based code. And that's really the key to this part of the presentation. Build on what's there in downtown. Free up use to empower redevelopment and create form regulations to make the best stuff the most conforming. What I mean by free up use is free up use restrictions. You can only do a doctor's office here, and you only can do a retail there, and you can only do whatever. Let's kind of free that up. Concentrate on the best stuff that's downtown and how we want that to continue that way. Build an economic windfalls by expanding density and use provisions. So what this means is we would allow people to do things like have second floor residential. We don't allow that right now. Allow people to have apartments above their businesses. Again, anytime you can get people downtown, whether there are people in apartments above businesses or condos or whatever it happens to be, the more vital your downtown. You get this critical mass of people that are coming downtown, that's always a good thing.
We do have some apartments on.
Yeah,
But not to build new.
Yeah, those are
They're grandfathered in.
probably non-conforming, pre-existing non-conforming. Which that's part of the problem, because now if they stop operating, we notice they stop operating, then the clock starts to when if it stays vacant for a certain amount of time that they can't reoccupy. It just gets to be a nightmare, and it's hard for us to keep track of that anyway. And usually it comes up. Those things usually only come up when there's a fight between a landlord and a tenant. Then we hear about it. Again, build on what's there. Base these things on the best stuff that we find that's going on downtown. Build an economic windfalls by expanding density, creating more use, more residential density. Even the village commercial district that was contemplated some years ago only allowed one home or one dwelling above a commercial business. Well, how could you just have one? Why would you want to limit it to just one dwelling? Regulating streetscape and site features to make it beautiful. If you're doing some of these other things, part of the trade-off between allowing a wide variety of mixed uses might be requiring someone to do something to their streetscape, plant a few trees along the frontage, that sort of thing. These are, time of year wasn't a great time of year when I took this picture, but these are some of the good parts of downtown. I wish I would have been this way when I took that picture, but there's some real nice buildings down here. These are, two-story. Some of these have zero lot lines, they're right next to each other. Some of the things we're trying to promote. So if we do embark upon a form-based code, we're going to go downtown and try to quantify all of those things that are working in the township. Okay, the waterfront area. Consider options for the waterfront area. So right now it's residential. Does it always have to be residential? No. Could it be something else? It certainly could be. Is there a use or uses that could open up the waterfront? Yes, there are. So the first part in this process, the first part in the thought process is just to consider something other than residential. Let's consider the options. What can we do now? That's where I'm going to need your help, the Planning Commission's help, to determine what is it exactly we want to go on in the downtown, in the waterfront area. Include provisions that are looking for enhanced sidewalks or boardwalks, better access, and better open space opportunities. So if we're going to provide other options downtown, those options should be tied to things like providing open space and access. If we're going to allow people to start using their homes or selling their homes for commercial businesses, consolidating lots to maybe build something bigger, a bigger commercial business, there should be some trade-off and some open spaces provided, rather than, as it is now, a row of homes that are effectively a block to the view of the lake. The waterfront we contemplate, these are just my initial ideas, to be a somewhat less strict on traditional than traditional downtown form and density. Contemplate reuse of homes for commercial uses. It certainly could be allowed. Or new business or new construction within the waterfront, all in and of itself. Enhanced focus on common elements, pedestrian circulation, public access would result in improved condition. And that is, again, opening up the waterfront, opening up the views by allowing different uses other than a home that blocks the entire view. This goes to the same ideas that I talked about. Put a premium on lot aggregation, that is putting lots together, taking several of the homes or structures, putting them together into a single lot, opening up views. By doing that, you'd open up views of the lake. We're contemplating the waterfront area to be a mild form-based district, and that the main concern is things like site design, and not necessarily building forms. Again, we're trying to open up that waterfront. The whole goal of this at this point, and again, I need your direction and guidance.
Opening it up for a site, or are you talking about a public beach?
It could be either. It could be either.
Maybe a tough sell.
It could just be site in some cases. If it was a commercial business that was consolidating lots, there could be a requirement that part of that lot be open. Or it certainly could be a dedication, or there could be some language in there that would get to some public spaces. Now the North Village. This is the area. This is what we call the Van Curler. Is it still property called the Van Curler property? Everyone knows it is that. The Van Curler property. The North Village should be rezoned as a form-based code district, but not necessarily as specifically as the other two areas, because we don't know what it's going to be. You can do some very effective standards similar to what we do with the plan unit development, and that is to provide some general guidelines that would follow similar ideas that the downtown has, as far as setbacks and locations and heights and densities and uses. Of course, we want to make the uses as flexible as possible. But because there's so much open land there, We certainly don't want to create some regulations that are going to stifle a development, that are going to stifle maybe a creative developer that came into that property and wanted to do something really unique. As long as it generally met the standards that we're trying to employ downtown, we want to make sure that we're not scaring someone.
Well, you sure as hell wouldn't want to make a PUD then. I mean, we don't have any PUD, one building in the whole township, so why would everybody want that building?
It would be zoned form-based code. The PUD, it would just be PUD-like restrictions. It wouldn't be a PUD necessarily. It'd still be, if this went forward, it would be zoned FBC form-based code. And there'd be 3 different parts of the form-based code: lakefront, downtown, and the North Village. This would be our most flexible area because we just don't know what's going to happen there.
Why they ask for zone, what's the zone now?
It's zoned planned shopping center.
So, I mean, we ask them if they want zoning change, or we just change their zoning? I mean, I'm just asking.
We could,
How's it work?
we
Change it for the best interest of the community.
we can just change it. I mean, if you think about when a zoning map was first developed, I mean, the township came up with a zoning map. However,
I don't agree with that.
yeah, well, we would want to talk with them, obviously. I can't imagine a situation where we just do that. Okay. Now, the North Village, again, is going to be trying to be very flexible, wide variety of uses, keep an open mind about potential, may require future streets to meet certain design standards, buildings to meet design standards, height restrictions, architectural standards. There could be some mild standards that a developer would have to meet that would kind of address some of the downtown issues. And it may also simply serve as an area for the downtown district to grow. I mean, that's really the main idea. Yeah.
Just a quick comment, if you don't mind. Speaking from the developer standpoint, a form-based development, I'm familiar with what you're talking about, would be well received versus a PUD. It's much more flexible, and speaking as a developer, again, I can't speak for the owner of the property, but in general, it would be well received over any other type of zone.
Thank you. Then generally, non-compliant building forms would be considered legally non-conforming. Township's new provisions would prevent, you know, you have to, of course, something's going to become non-conforming, some of the things that would come out of this district, but our new standards really help that. We're certainly not taking someone out of the equation. I think we've got to, I'm just going to keep going because I think I'm running probably a little later than I think you thought. But let's talk about becoming a destination. So now, again, we're in the now what, continuing that. Talking about potentially providing waterfront, water-based amenities, playscape, fishing, pier, beach, involve civic and community groups in this. This is one of those features, one of those things that we want to draw people. We got this great resource, we want to draw them downtown. This is a very important part of any downtown. What's your draw? In just a few pictures, we're almost wrapping up here. This sort of thing obviously brings kids in, which brings parents in, which brings people to the downtown. A great little park downtown on the water or somewhere else in close proximity would be a fantastic feature for downtown. One quick story, I went to school, got my undergraduate degree at Northern Michigan University, and they had a lower harbor at NMU that was really an old, when I first started school, there was a really working harbor with, the iron ore carriers didn't actually go there anymore, but they used to go there. And so it was really kind of a little bit of an eyesore, actually. Well, the city bought up that property, cleaned it up, made it a beautiful, positive feature in the community, built a playscape. It's actually a big wood iron ore carrier, which is really cool. My kids have actually played on it because we go up there quite a bit to visit. And from what was at one time an eyesore in the community, it's just a wonderful asset, and there's always a ton of people down there. So just something as simple as this can really bring a lot of people to the community, and bring people in and make things kind of exciting for everybody. Fishing pier, this certainly